Hello, dear listener, and welcome. Wherever you are tonight, whether you're curled beneath warm blankets, resting on a quiet couch, or lying awake with thoughts still turning, this is your time to slow down. The world is noisy, busy, and restless. But here, in this moment, you're safe to let go, let the edges soften, let your breath deepen, and let curiosity become something gentle, like the sound of water lapping against the shore, or the hush of wind moving through leaves at dusk. Tonight, we're not going far into the stars. We're staying home on Earth. And yet, even here, in the familiar ground beneath your feet, in the oceans that cover most of our planet, in the forests, deserts, and skies, there are mysteries so strange and beautiful they feel like dreams. So let's wander together, not in a hurry, not with urgency, but slowly, softly. Each story you hear is true, but told like a lullaby. A little science, a little wonder, and a quiet reminder that life is always more astonishing than we imagine. Take a deep breath now, and let's begin. Fact, Story 1. The jellyfish that rewinds time. Imagine drifting in the moonlit waters of the Mediterranean. Beneath the surface, something translucent floats by, pulsing gently like a ghost lantern. It is small, fragile-looking, but it carries one of the strangest secrets in the animal kingdom. This is Turritopsis dorniae, often called the immortal jellyfish. Unlike almost every other creature we know, it has found a way to step backwards in time. When injured, stressed, or aged, it does not wither away. Instead, it transforms. Its cells change, its tissues dissolve into a more youthful state, and it reverts back to its earliest form, a polyp, the jellyfish's childhood. It's as if a butterfly folded its wings and returned to being a caterpillar, ready to grow again. Scientists have watched this cycle repeat again and again. It is not magic, not legend, but biology. Unless eaten or destroyed, this jellyfish could theoretically repeat the process forever. No, it does not hold the key to eternal youth for humans. But floating quietly in the ocean, it whispers something profound. Nature is not bound by the rules we think are unbreakable. Life can bend, rewind, and begin again in ways that defy imagination. Fact Story 2. The Forest's Secret Conversation. Now picture yourself in a forest standing very still. Around you, trees stretch upward, silent, unmoving, or so it seems. But beneath the soil, hidden from sight, something extraordinary is happening. A vast network of fungal threads called mycorrhizae connects the roots of trees. Through these delicate filaments, trees pass sugars, minerals, and even warning signals. Older trees, sometimes called mother trees, share resources with their younger offspring. A birch tree might quietly support a neighbouring fir, and when a tree is dying, it can send its last stored energy into the community around it, ensuring others survive. This is not a metaphor. It is a living internet, a wood-wide web woven from roots and fungi. Each tree is not alone. The forest is not just a collection of individuals, it is a single, breathing, sharing community. And in this silent exchange, we're reminded that intelligence comes in many forms. Not conscious thought like ours, but a quiet cooperation written in the soil. Fact Story 3. Tiny bears among the stars. Let's turn to something even smaller, almost invisible. Under a microscope, it looks like a plump, wrinkled gummy bear with 8 tiny legs. This is a tardigrade, also known as a water bear. It is less than a millimetre long, and yet it can endure things that would kill almost every other living creature. Freezing close to absolute zero, boiling heat, crushing pressure, radiation, and even the vacuum of space itself. In 2007, scientists launched tardigrades into orbit. They floated in the emptiness of space, exposed to deadly radiation, and when they returned, they were alive. How? When conditions become too harsh, tardigrades enter a state called cryptobiosis. They dry themselves out until their tiny bodies are almost dust. Their metabolism shuts down, but they don't die, they simply wait. For years, and when water returns, they reawaken, stretching out their legs, alive once more. They are nature's little astronauts, proof that life is far tougher and stranger than we ever guessed. And perhaps, somewhere out among the stars, creatures like these could drift too, waiting for the right moment to wake. Fact, Chiripaw. When oxygen was poison. Take a deep breath. Feel the air move into your lungs, quiet and invisible. Today, oxygen is life. It fuels every cell of your body, but long ago, it was death. More than 2 billion years ago, the earliest microbes thrived in an oxygen-free world. These tiny beings lived in a gentle balance, feeding on simple chemistry. Then another kind of microbe appeared, cyanobacteria. They discovered photosynthesis, turning sunlight into energy and releasing oxygen as a byproduct. At first, the gas bubbled unnoticed, but over millions of years it filled the oceans and the sky. For the old inhabitants of Earth, oxygen was toxic. It corroded their cells, disrupted their chemistry, and wiped out countless species. It was one of the planet's first great mass extinctions, and yet oxygen also opened a door. It became the fuel for complex cells, for animals, for us. Every breath you take is built on that turning point, life reshaping itself after catastrophe. Oxygen is not just a gift. It is a reminder that even destruction can create the possibility of something new. Fact, Story 5. The Patient Hunters in Green. We often imagine plants as still, gentle and passive, but some are hunters. The Venus flytrap waits with jaws open, lined with delicate trigger hairs. One touch, nothing. 2 touches, snap. In less than a second, the trap closes, holding an unsuspecting insect prisoner. Pitcher plants lure with sweet nectar, then let their victims slip into a deep, waxy well filled with digestive liquid. Once inside, there is no escape, and sundews glisten with sparkling tentacles, sticky and slow, curling patiently around anything that brushes too close. Why do they hunt? Because they live where the soil is poor, where nutrients are scarce. They've evolved not claws or fangs, but clever designs to survive. These quiet predators remind us that life wears many masks. Sometimes even the gentlest leaf hides a hidden appetite. Fact Story 6. Every leaf a masterpiece. Now, imagine holding a leaf up to the sunlight. So thin, so ordinary, and yet within that softness lies a miracle of design. A network of veins branches like rivers across a landscape carrying water, minerals and sugars to every cell. Tiny pores, called stomata, open and close like invisible valves, trading carbon dioxide for oxygen. Inside, green chlorophyll pigments catch sunlight and turn it into food, not just for the plant, but for nearly every living creature on Earth. Some leaves track the sun's path across the sky. Others repel water with perfect droplets, or shimmer with colours we barely see. No two are alike. Each one carries its own pattern, its own geometry, its own fingerprint. Hold a leaf and you hold a masterpiece. Fragile, purposeful, endlessly varied. And in its quiet green surface you hold a reminder that beauty is not rare. It is everywhere, layered into the most ordinary things. Fact Story 7. The Oceans That Glow. Picture yourself walking along a quiet beach at night. The tide rolls in, a wave breaks, and the water flashes blue-green, shimmering like liquid stars. This is not moonlight. It is life. Tiny plankton called bioluminescent dinoflagellates release light when disturbed. Every splash, every swirl of your hand sets off a glowing spark. In places like Mosquito Bay in Puerto Rico, or the Maldives, the entire shoreline can glitter, as if the sea itself were dreaming. This glow is a kind of communication, camouflage, or defense, depending on the species. Some fish use it to attract prey, some squids to vanish in plain sight, and fireflies in the night sky flash with the very same chemistry. Bioluminescence has evolved over and over across the tree of life. Different organisms, different purposes, but one language, light in the darkness. And when you see it, when the water shines beneath your feet, it feels like the planet whispering a quiet reminder. Even in the darkest waters, life will find a way to glow. Fact Story 8. And you are a walking world. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself not as one body but as a city. Because in truth you are. Your body contains more microbial cells than human ones. Trillions of bacteria, fungi, archaea and viruses live on your skin, in your mouth, and deep within your gut. Together, this vast hidden community is called the microbiome. They are not invaders. They are partners. They help you digest food, train your immune system, produce vitamins, and even influence mood and thought. Each of us carries a different combination, unique as a fingerprint. Your microbes are part of your identity, a quiet crowd humming beneath your skin. So the next time you feel alone, remember this. You are never truly by yourself. You're an ecosystem, a world within a world, living and breathing in quiet partnership. Fact Story 9: Ants that become bridges. Now, let's travel to the rainforests of South America. Here, a river of life moves across the jungle floor. Army ants, marching endlessly in search of food. But when they encounter a gap, a stream, a chasm, an empty space, they do something remarkable. They stop, they link their bodies together. One ant grips a branch, another clings to her, another follows. Soon a living bridge stretches across the chasm, flexible, shifting but strong. Thousands of ants may form these structures, adjusting in real time as others walk across them. And when the colony is crossed, the bridge dissolves, the ants returning to the flow as if nothing happened. No leader commands this. It emerges from simple choices, each ant responding to the touch of its neighbour. Out of many tiny decisions, a collective intelligence appears. It is a reminder that cooperation is not only human, even the smallest creatures can build wonders when they work as one. Fact Story 10: The octopus that rewrites itself. Beneath the surface of the ocean, an octopus drifts, arms trailing like silk ribbons. It is already one of Earth's most alien beings, intelligent, shape-shifting, watching with eerie eyes. But its secrets go deeper. Unlike most creatures, octopuses can rewrite the scripts of their own bodies, not by changing DNA, but by editing RNA, the molecules that translate genetic code into proteins. This means they can fine-tune their biology on the fly, adjusting how neurons fire, altering how they respond to temperature or stress, rearranging the machinery of life in real time. We do not fully understand why or how they do this, but it gives them a flexibility almost unimaginable, a fluidity of identity that matches the way they change colour and shape. The octopus is not just strange, it is a reminder that evolution can invent possibilities we have barely begun to dream of. Fact Story 11: Mirrors in the animal kingdom stand before a mirror and you know it is you. But most animals do not. Scientists use what's called the mirror test. They place a small mark on an animal in a place it cannot see without reflection. If the animal looks in the mirror and touches the mark on its own body, it shows recognition. Very few species pass this test. Great apes, dolphins, elephants, magpies, possibly manta rays, even some clever fish. It does not mean they have human-style consciousness, but it does suggest a spark of self-awareness, something mysterious and profound flickering in minds very different from ours. The boundary between I and other may not belong to us alone. In reflections, animals glimpse themselves, and in their eyes, we glimpse a reminder. Awareness may be wider, deeper, and more shared than we once believed. Life after catastrophe. Close your eyes and imagine the Earth not as it is now, with green forests and wide oceans, but as a wounded planet. Picture a time when life itself seemed to have ended. 5 times in our planet's long history, the vast majority of living creatures have been erased. These are known as the mass extinctions, moments when the thread of life thinned almost to breaking. The most devastating happened about 252 million years ago. Scientists call it the Permian extinction, though some call it the Great Dying. Volcanoes split open the land, filling the skies with ash and fire. The seas turned acidic, choking with carbon. The air grew toxic. 90% of marine species vanished. 70% of land species disappeared. Forests withered. Reefs crumbled. Entire lineages ended in silence. If you were there, you might have walked across a barren world, hearing only the crackle of volcanoes and the endless wind. And yet life did not stop. Somewhere in that emptiness, small survivors endured. Tiny creatures in the oceans, burrowing animals beneath the soil. Microbes clinging to niches where conditions remained just barely tolerable. Over thousands, then millions of years, they multiplied again. They changed, they adapted. From those few, new forms emerged, creatures different from the ones before, carrying the story of life forward in new directions. And this was not the only time. Asteroids have struck, shattering the skies. Ice ages have spread, freezing continents. The dinosaurs themselves, once rulers of the Earth, vanished in the wake of a falling star. Each time, life seemed on the edge of ending. Each time it found a way back. Not the same life, not the same forms, but something new. Birds rising from dinosaurs, mammals creeping into niches left behind, flowers spreading across the land where ancient forests once stood. Even now, when you breathe, when you dream, you carry the legacy of survivors. Your own ancestors, stretching back through time, endured every one of those catastrophes. The blood in your veins is the echo of lives that refuse to end. And maybe, as you lie here tonight, letting the quiet settle around you, you can feel a kind of comfort in that thought. That even in the darkest times, life does not simply vanish. It bends, it shifts, it finds a way forward. You are part of that unbroken thread, woven through extinctions, through storms, through songs. Still here, still breathing. And the earth, though scarred and changed, still carries life. Always surprising, always enduring. A story written not in perfection, but in persistence. Whales can sing across oceans. Beneath the surface of the sea, sound travels farther than light ever could. Imagine yourself drifting in that dark silence, suspended in endless blue. Suddenly, a vibration begins, low, steady, rising and falling like a breath stretched over miles. It is the voice of a whale. Blue whales, the largest animals ever to live on Earth, produce calls so deep they vibrate more in your chest than in your ears. These calls can travel for thousands of miles underwater, echoing from one coastline to another. In the stillness of the deep, a single note can become a bridge across an entire ocean. Each species has its own dialect. Humpback whales weave long, intricate songs, sometimes lasting for hours. And the melodies are not fixed. They shift from year to year, with new phrases added, old ones fading, as if the whales are passing along evolving traditions. Why do they sing? Some calls guide them across vast distances, others attract mates, or help family groups stay connected in the dark. Whatever the reason, one truth is clear. These are not random noises. They are communication. They are messages. And as you lie here now, breathing slowly, imagine those songs vibrating through the waters of the world. Imagine them crossing the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Indian Ocean, lines of sound binding the planet together. For millions of years, whales have roamed our seas, their voices carrying farther than our tallest towers, farther than our loudest machines. And tonight, as you drift into rest, you are sharing the earth with these ancient singers, their voices threading through the silence, gentle and eternal. Seeds can sleep for millennia. Hold a seed in your hand, small, dry, unremarkable. It looks like nothing, a scrap of dust, a fragment of shell, and yet inside a secret waits. Seeds are time travellers. Some lie dormant not for months or years, but for centuries, even thousands of years. One famous example, a date palm seed discovered in an ancient desert fortress in Israel. Archaeologists unearthed it after 2,000 years of slumber. For centuries it lay buried in sand, surviving the rise and fall of empires, storms and silence. And when scientists finally planted it with water and care, the seed awoke. A palm sprouted, green, alive, reaching toward the sun. Other seeds have survived ice ages, fire and burial under meters of soil. Some endure freezing temperatures, others resist drought. Their protective coats, their clever chemistry, and their patient stillness allow them to wait for the perfect moment. Think about that as you drift into sleep tonight. All around the world, beneath snow, beneath soil, tucked into cracks of stone, countless seeds lie waiting. Each one carries a future. Not now, not today, but someday. A single acorn might wait through a harsh season, then rise into a towering oak. A lotus seed may wait 1,000 years before unfolding into a blossom. Each is a tiny promise whispering, not yet, but soon. And in a way, you are like that too. Inside you, there are dreams that wait quietly until the right time to awaken. Life that glows. The chemistry of bioluminescence. On warm summer nights, fireflies blink across fields like sparks drifting on the air. In the ocean, plankton shimmer as waves break. In caves, mushrooms glow faintly against the dark. This is bioluminescence. Life's ability to make light. It is not borrowed from the sun. It is not a reflection. It is a chemical reaction, elegant and simple. An enzyme called luciferase reacts with a molecule called luciferin. releasing energy as light. What's astonishing is how many times nature has discovered this trick. At least 40 separate times across evolution, different organisms, jellyfish, squid, bacteria, insects, have learned to glow. Some use light to hunt. The anglerfish of the deep dangles a glowing lure in front of its mouth, attracting prey in the black abyss. Some use it to hide. Certain squid can match the faint shimmer of moonlight filtering down, becoming invisible. Others use it to attract mates, or to warn predators, or to talk to each other in secret signals of shine and shadow. Imagine the deep sea far below sunlight's reach, filled with drifting constellations of glowing creatures, a galaxy beneath the waves. And remember, the same chemistry lights the firefly in your garden and the plankton in the surf. A shared language of glow, written again and again into the book of life. Tonight, as you close your eyes, picture that. An earth where darkness is never absolute, because life itself carries tiny lanterns. Your bones are stardust. Now, let's rise even further back in time, before forests, before oceans, before Earth itself. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, all of it was forged inside ancient stars. At the end of their lives, massive stars collapse and explode in supernovas. In those moments, under unimaginable heat and pressure, elements heavier than helium are born. Carbon, oxygen, iron, calcium, everything needed for life. The explosion scatters them across space. For millions of years, these atoms drift in clouds of gas and dust. Then gravity gathers them again. Planets form, oceans rise, life begins. You are not just in the universe, you are the universe. A collection of atoms arranged in a pattern that can breathe, dream and wonder. Every heartbeat is powered by starlight. Every thought is the whisper of ancient nuclear fire, cooled and shaped into cells. So when you feel small, remember this. The stars are not distant. They live in you. You are the cosmos, resting here tonight, listening, breathing. Flowers in ultraviolet, a hidden world of colour. When you walk through a meadow in spring, the flowers appear bright enough, yellow, red, violet, white, but to the eyes of an insect, the scene is entirely different. Bees, butterflies, and many other pollinators can see ultraviolet light, a part of the spectrum invisible to us. A petal that looks plain to you might blaze with hidden patterns to them. Rings, lines, glowing paths guiding them directly to nectar. Imagine holding a daisy. To you, it is simple white with a yellow centre. But in ultraviolet, it might have a dark bullseye at its heart, a luminous target only bees can see. To a butterfly, the bloom is a glowing runway, a neon sign pulsing with invitation. These markings, invisible to us, are not decoration. They are maps. They help insects find food quickly, and in return they ensure the flower is pollinated, carrying life into the next generation. This exchange is so old, so deeply woven into the story of Earth, that entire ecosystems depend on it. Without insects seeing what we cannot, fields and forests would be quieter, emptier, less alive. So as you drift tonight, picture that secret spectrum humming all around you, painted across every meadow, every garden, every wild blossom. A quiet radiance we walk past every day, never knowing it's there, yet essential to the balance of life. Kangaroos can pause time. In the arid heart of Australia, life is harsh and unpredictable. Rain may come, or it may not. Food may flourish one year and vanish the next. Yet kangaroos have learned a secret that seems almost like science fiction. They can pause time inside their own bodies. A mother kangaroo can carry not one, not two, but 3 offspring in different stages at once. One joey, already grown, hops at her side. Another lives in her pouch, feeding and sleeping. And a third, still only an embryo, waits inside her womb, paused in development. This phenomenon is called embryonic diapause. If conditions are too harsh, or if her pouch is already occupied, the mother can simply stop the embryo from growing. Days, weeks, sometimes months pass. And when food is plentiful again, or when the pouch is empty, she allows development to resume. It is as if she holds a hidden clock within her body, able to halt and restart it at will. In a world of droughts and predators, this ability ensures that her lineage continues, no matter how uncertain the land may be. As you close your eyes tonight to think of the kangaroo, a creature who carries time itself as an ally. shaping life with patience, resilience, and quiet control. Fish that change their identity. Beneath the surface of coral reefs, life is dazzling, crowded, and competitive. In such a vibrant place, flexibility is everything. Some fish carry an astonishing secret. They can change sex. Take the clownfish, for example. They live in small social groups inside sea anemones. The largest fish is always female, and she mates with the dominant male. But if she dies, the male transforms into a female, taking her place as matriarch. In other species, like wrasses, the opposite occurs. Females shift into males when the dominant male disappears. Hormones change, organs restructure, colours brighten, behaviours shift. What was once one becomes another seamlessly. This transformation is not random. It is survival. It ensures the group always has a breeding pair, even in uncertain conditions. It reminds us that in nature, identity is not always fixed. It can flow with need, with opportunity, with chance. Close your eyes and imagine that coral reef, full of fluid beings, shapes and colours transforming, roles reversing, life adapting, in ways we barely understand. In their transformations, we see a reflection of Earth itself, endlessly creative, endlessly flexible. Birds that follow invisible maps. Each year, birds travel thousands of miles across oceans, mountains, and continents, returning with uncanny precision to the same nesting grounds. How do they do it? The answer lies in a sense we can only imagine: magnetoreception, the ability to feel Earth's magnetic field. Some birds carry tiny crystals of monatite in their beaks or skulls, acting like natural compasses. Others may use special proteins in their eyes, allowing them to perceive magnetic fields as faint patterns or colours. To them, the world is layered with lines of force, invisible highways stretching from pole to pole. Together with the stars, the sun, and the shapes of the land, this inner compass guides them across the globe. Arctic terns fly from the northern summer to the southern, chasing daylight for nearly the entire year. Swallows return each spring to the very barn beams where they were born. Even tiny warblers, weighing less than a handful of feathers, cross oceans with unerring accuracy. Imagine flying in darkness, wings outstretched, guided not by sight or memory, but by the pull of the planet itself. The Earth whispers directions, and the birds listen. And as you lie here tonight, your own body resting against the pull of gravity, remember, the same Earth that carries you also guides them. A silent map, always present, etched into the fabric of the world. The Earth breathes through the carbon cycle. Take a slow breath in, now let it go. That simple act connects you to forests, oceans, mountains, and even volcanoes. It ties you into one of the oldest rhythms of the planet, the carbon cycle. Carbon moves through everything. It drifts in the air as carbon dioxide. It dissolves into the ocean where it feeds microscopic plankton. Plants pull it from the air to build leaves, stems, and roots. Animals eat those plants, taking the carbon into their own bodies. When life ends, decomposers return it to the soil and air. Even deep underground, carbon hides in rocks, in fossil fuels, in minerals that last for eons. Volcanoes exhale it, oceans swallow it, forests breathe it in and release it again. Think of it as the planets inhale and exhale, slow, steady, unbroken. It's been happening for billions of years. Each moment you breathe, you join that rhythm, as though the Earth itself is breathing through you. Tonight, as you rest, imagine that quiet exchange. You inhale what a tree once exhaled. You exhale what a coral reef may someday use. It is a conversation older than language, written into every breath of wind, every crashing wave, every sigh of a sleeping person. The Earth is not static. It breathes, and you are part of that breath. Bacteria, the first builders of Earth. Long before trees shaded the land, long before animals swam in the seas, there were only bacteria, and some of them built. Stromatolites, layered, rock-like structures, are among the oldest evidence of life on Earth. They were created by cyanobacteria, microbes that lived in shallow water and trapped sediments in sticky mats. Day after day, year after year, they built new layers like bricks in a wall, like pages in a book. Some fossilized stromatolites are 3.5 billion years old. They tell us that even at the dawn of life, organisms were already reshaping the world. These tiny architects released oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Slowly, invisibly, they transform the atmosphere, paving the way for complex life. And here is the quiet wonder. Stromatolites still exist today. In places like Shark Bay, Australia, you can stand at the edge of the water and see them. Living fossils, continuing the same patient work that began before almost anything else we know. Picture that as you drift into sleep, an ancient world of shallow seas, sunlight filtering through waves, mats of microbes quietly building layer upon layer. No rush, no noise, just time and persistence. Builders without hands, architects without eyes, life beginning patiently at the water's edge. Dolphins have names. Out in the rolling blue of the ocean, dolphins leap and glide. They whistle, click, and chatter in complex patterns of sound. But hidden within that noise is something astonishing: names. Each dolphin develops a unique signature whistle, almost like a fingerprint of sound. Other dolphins learn these whistles, dees, and use them to call specific individuals. A mother calls her calf. A friend calls across the waves. In experiments, when researchers played back a dolphin's own whistle, the dolphin responded, just as you might turn when hearing your name. This isn't mimicry. It's recognition. It's memory. It's identity. Imagine a pod of dolphins swimming together. The water is alive with whistles and clicks, a living conversation. Bonds are formed, alliances are tested, friendships remembered. All through names. And as you close your eyes, picture the sea not as a silent place, but as a chorus of voices, carrying across miles of water. Each note is personal, each whistle is a thread of connection. Dolphins live in a world where no one is anonymous. Every voice matters, every name carries weight. And in that shimmering blue, they remind us, language is not ours alone. The Sahara was once green. Today, the Sahara stretches like a golden sea, vast, hot and dropped. Dunes rise like waves, winds shift endlessly, and life clings to the edges. But not so long ago, just 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, the Sahara was green. Rain fell regularly. Lakes spread across the land, some larger than modern seas. Grasslands rippled with their antelope and giraffes. Elephants and crocodiles roamed. Humans lived there too, leaving behind cave paintings of animals and rivers, records of a landscape transformed. This period is called the African Humid Period. Subtle shifts in Earth's orbit strengthened monsoons, drawing rain deep into the desert. For thousands of years the Sahara bloomed. Then just as slowly the rains faded. The lakes dried. Grass gave way to sand. The desert returned. Yet the memory remains. Fossilized trees buried beneath dunes. Ancient lake beds hidden under sand. Bones of hippos where now there is only dust. Think of it. The Sahara is not fixed. It is not eternal. It is a place with seasons that span thousands of years. Once it was green. One day, it may be green again. And as you rest tonight, imagine that transformation. The dunes melting into grasslands, rivers glimmering under moonlight, elephants walking where camels now roam. The desert is not empty. It remembers. Bees can understand zero. In a quiet meadow, bees drift from flower to flower, wings humming softly in the air. They look simple, almost mechanical, tiny pollinating engines moving with the sun, but inside those tiny bodies, something remarkable hums, the ability to grasp an abstract concept that once baffled human thinkers: zero. In carefully designed experiments, researchers trained bees to associate fewer shapes with this sweet reward. When shown cards with 4, 3, or 2 symbols, bees learned that fewer was better. Then came the surprise. When presented with a blank card, no shapes at all, the bees chose it. They seemed to understand that nothing was less than something. Zero. The very idea of absence. It may seem small, but it's profound. For centuries, human civilization struggled with the concept. Ancient cultures had numbers for 1, 2, 3, but the leap to zero came late, only after deep reflection. And yet here are bees, their brains smaller than a sesame seed, solving the riddle through instinct and need. Inside the hive, thousands of individuals move as one, guided by collective rhythm. But even the single bee, buzzing between blossoms, carries flashes of intelligence, choices, calculations, awareness. So the next time you hear that quiet hum, Imagine the tiny mathematician inside not only pollinating our world, but holding concepts once thought too abstract for such small minds. Even in miniature, the spark of thought glows. Wolves changed the shape of rivers. In the 1990s, wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park. No one predicted what would happen next. At first, the effect was simple. Wolves preyed on deer and elk, keeping their numbers in check, but the consequences rippled outward. With fewer grazers, young trees along rivers grew taller. Shrubs spread, birds returned to nest. Beavers, finding more wood, built dams, which created ponds for fish and amphibians. And then something extraordinary. The rivers themselves began to change. With vegetation stabilizing the soil, banks eroded less. Channels narrowed. Waterways meandered differently, shaped by the new balance of plants and animals. Wolves, by simply being wolves, reshaped an entire landscape. This phenomenon, called a trophic cascade, is a reminder that every creature plays a role larger than itself. A single howl in the night can echo into forests, streams, and skies. As you lie here, imagine that transformation. Quiet valleys blooming again, rivers flowing steady, birds returning to branches, all because balance returned. The land remembers, the water remembers, and sometimes healing begins with the return of a single voice. Flowers can hear bees. It seems impossible. Flowers have no ears, no nerves, no brains, and yet some can listen. When a bee approaches, wings buzzing at a specific frequency, certain flowers respond. Within minutes, they increase the sweetness of their nectar, offering a better reward. The petals themselves act like ears, vibrating in response to sound. They are tuned not to every noise, but to the wing beats of pollinators. It is a quiet conversation. The bee calls, the flower answers, no words, no thoughts, just vibration and response, a dialogue written in biology. Imagine standing in a garden, unseen symphonies humming all around you. Bees signal, flowers adjust. Each exchange is small, but together they keep the world blooming. Even without voices, the garden is alive with whispers. Lichens, two lives in one. On stone walls, on tree bark, on mountain cliffs, you'll see patches of green, grey or orange, crusty and quiet. These are lichens. They seem simple, but each one is a partnership, two organisms living as one. A lichen is a collaboration between a fungus and either an alga or a cyanobacterium. The fungus provides shelter and structure. The alga provides food, capturing sunlight and making sugars. Together, they survive in places too harsh for either alone: Arctic tundra, desert rock, bare stone where nothing else grows. Sometimes the relationship is gentle, each partner giving what the other cannot. Sometimes it's more forceful, with the fungus shaping the alga's behaviour. But whatever the balance, the result is resilience. Lichens are pioneers. They break down rock into soil, preparing the way for plants. They provide food for animals in barren landscapes. They create colour on stone where there might otherwise be only grey. Think of that. Not one life, but two, fused into a single being. A collaboration so ancient it has endured for hundreds of millions of years. And tonight, as you drift toward dreams, imagine yourself as a lichen. Partnership, patience, survival. A small, quiet fusion of worlds, holding on even in the harshest places. Water bears may outlive us all. They are almost invisible to the naked eye. Tiny, wrinkled creatures less than a millimetre long, tardigrades, more affectionately called water bears. Soft-bodied, with 8 stubby legs and a slow, lumbering gait, they look almost like living gummy bears under the microscope. And yet, behind that humble appearance lies one of the toughest life forms ever discovered. Water bears can survive conditions that would destroy almost anything else. Temperatures near absolute zero, heat that would boil water, radiation hundreds of times stronger than what humans can endure, the crushing pressures of the deep ocean, even the vacuum of outer space. How do they do it? When conditions turn harsh, tardigrades curl into a tiny dried-out ball called a tun. In this state, their metabolism nearly stops. They are not dead, but suspended, waiting. They can remain in this limbo for decades, maybe even centuries. And when water returns, they unfold, rehydrate, and walk again, as if nothing happened. Some scientists believe that tardigrades could survive mass extinctions that wipe out larger creatures, asteroid impacts, global radiation, cosmic catastrophes. While the great dinosaurs perished, While species rise and vanish, these tiny creatures may simply wait, patient and eternal. As you rest tonight, picture them, microscopic guardians of persistence, hidden in moss, drifting in droplets of water, quietly ready to outlast us all. Small, almost invisible, yet carrying the secret of survival. Naked mole rats defy age. Far beneath the dry savannas of East Africa, in tunnels carved through the earth, lives one of the strangest mammals alive, the naked mole rat. Wrinkled, nearly hairless, with oversized teeth, they are not pretty in the conventional sense, but their biology tells a story unlike any other. Unlike most creatures, naked mole rats do not follow the usual rules of aging. For humans and almost every animal, the risk of dying increases steadily with age. Cells break down, organs weaken, diseases take hold. But naked mole rats defy this. Their chance of death does not rise as they grow older. A 25-year-old mole rat is almost as healthy as one half its age. They resist cancer. They thrive in low-oxygen environments that would suffocate most mammals. Their proteins remain unusually stable. Their cells seem almost immune to damage. Some individuals live for more than 30 years, an extraordinary span for such a small rodent. They live in colonies like insects, ruled by a single breeding queen. In the darkness, they dig, forage, and cooperate, thriving where few other mammals could survive. To scientists, they are mysteries and models studied for clues about longevity, cancer resistance, and resilience. To nature, they are simply another quiet miracle, a creature that whispers, "Age is not destiny." Tonight, imagine their tunnels stretching like veins under the soil, a hidden society of small, wrinkled beings who live long, tireless lives in the dark. Time touches them gently, and they carry secrets we have only begun to glimpse. Your body is a living symphony of cells. You might think of yourself as a single being, but in truth you are a community. 30 trillion human cells, each with its own role, working together in harmony. Muscle cells contract and release, powering your every movement. Neurons fire, passing signals faster than lightning across synapses. Red blood cells drift through veins, carrying oxygen to every tissue. Skin cells form a shield, constantly renewing. Immune cells patrol, watching, guarding. Each cell is small, almost invisible. Yet together they create you, your thoughts, your heartbeat, your very presence in the world, and they do not rest. Even now, as you lie here, millions of cells are dividing, repairing, defending and dying while millions more take their place. You are not static. You are constantly remade, rebuilt piece by piece. Imagine it. A quiet orchestra of microscopic performers, each playing its part, guided by no conductor, yet never out of tune. Every breath, every dream, every sigh is their music. Tonight, as your body relaxes, let yourself feel that hidden symphony. A soft hum beneath your skin, a miracle of coordination, always present, always playing, keeping you whole. Parrots can outsmart toddlers. Bright feathers, sharp eyes, a voice that can mimic our own. Parrots are known as playful talkers, but behind the chatter lies a startling intelligence. In studies, African grey parrots have demonstrated abilities that rival those of young children. One parrot, named Alex, learned to identify colours, shapes and quantities. He could ask for what he wanted, answer questions, even show frustration if misunderstood. He grasped the concept of same and different, and even understood zero, the absence of things. Parrots in the wild use their intelligence in subtler ways. They solve problems, learn from one another, and navigate complex social groups. Some even use tools, bending sticks to reach food. Their brains are structured differently from ours. Yet evolution has found a parallel path to thought. When a parrot speaks, it isn't always mimicry. It may be a glimpse into its own mind, its own reasoning. So imagine them now, perched high in the canopy, feathers glowing in sunlight, voices echoing through the forest. Each call is more than sound, it is thought in feathered form, intelligence wrapped in colour. And as you drift into rest, remember, the world holds minds we barely understand, bright minds, small minds, minds that fly on wings. The ocean holds more life than all the land combined. Stand on a beach and look out across the water. The horizon feels endless, the sea vast and quiet. But beneath those waves lies the greatest wilderness on earth. The ocean covers more than 70% of the planet's surface. Within its depths lives the majority of Earth's biomass, more life than all forests, fields and mountains combined. From drifting plankton invisible to the naked eye, to the largest animals ever to exist, the ocean is full to the brim with creatures. A single drop of seawater may hold thousands of tiny organisms, each one alive, each one part of the web. Coral reefs bloom with colour, teeming with fish, crustaceans and mollusks. Kelp forests sway like underwater cathedrals. In the deep, where no sunlight reaches, bioluminescent beings drift like stars scattered across a midnight sky. And we have seen only a fraction. The deep trenches, the seamounts, the hidden plains remain largely unexplored. Each new dive reveals something alien. Fish with transparent heads, creatures with lights along their skin, shapes and forms never imagined. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine yourself floating in that vastness, drifting among unseen multitudes. Life is not only above the waves, it is there, beneath, abundant beyond comprehension. The ocean is not empty, it is alive. Earth's oldest living being is a quaking tree. In a quiet grove in Utah stands what looks like an ordinary forest of trembling aspen trees. The leaves shimmer in the wind, whispering together, but appearances deceive. This is not a forest, it is one single organism called Pando. Each trunk you see is not separate, but part of a single root system sprawling beneath the soil. Thousands of stems rise, but genetically they are identical, all connected to the same ancient root network. Pando does not reproduce with seeds. Instead, it grows by sending up new shoots from its roots, generation after generation. How old is it? Scientists estimate that this living colony may be 80,000 years old. Older than recorded human history, older than many ice ages, older than the mountains shaped as it grew. Individual trunks live and die, but the organism as a whole persists, quietly, patiently, enduring through storms, droughts, fires, and time itself. Imagine standing in that grove surrounded by trees that are not truly many, but one. A living elder of Earth, rooted in silence, breathing still. Some viruses are our hidden allies. When you think of viruses, you likely think of sickness. But not all viruses are enemies. Some are woven deeply into the story of life itself. Certain viruses attack harmful bacteria in our gut, keeping the balance of our microbiome healthy. Others have inserted bits of their dim into our own genomes, and over millions of years those viral fragments became useful. Nearly 8% of the human genome, your very blueprint, comes from ancient viral infections passed down through countless generations. Some of these viral genes now help with critical functions, like brain development or the formation of the placenta that allows mammals to carry young. Without ancient viruses, life as we know it might not exist. It is humbling to think that even the smallest invaders can, over time, become part of us. Not just threats, but partners. Not just destroyers, but creators. So tonight, as you breathe easily in your bed, remember that you carry within you the whispers of ancient viruses, threads of code that long ago found their place in our story. Tiny shadows of the past, transformed into building blocks of who you are. Sharks are older than trees. In the popular imagination, sharks are sleek modern hunters, symbols of speed and danger. But their lineage is far older than it appears. Sharks have swum Earth's seas for more than 400 million years. By comparison, the first trees appeared only 370 million years ago. That means sharks were here before forests. They glided through oceans before a single leaf shaded the land. They have survived 5 mass extinctions, including the one that ended the age of dinosaurs. And through it all, their design has remained remarkably stable. Their cartilaginous skeletons, their keen senses, their rows of teeth, refined so well that evolution made only small adjustments over eons. Today, sharks come in countless forms. Whale sharks as big as buses, hammerheads with wide-set eyes, lantern sharks that glow in the dark. Each carries within it the legacy of deep time. Imagine one moving silently through dark water, every flick of its tail shaped by hundreds of millions of years. A living reminder that survival often comes not from constant change, but from enduring perfection. And tonight, as you drift, think of them, timeless, steady, gliding through epochs while the world around them shifts and burns. Sharks remind us that some stories are older than we can fathom, and they are still being told. Rainforests make their own clouds deep within the tropics. The rainforest is alive, not just with animals and plants, but with the atmosphere itself. Each tree draws water from the ground, pulling it through roots and trunks and leaves. Then, with every breath of sunlight, the forest exhales moisture into the air. This process, called transpiration, is like a billion tiny fountains misting into the sky. The vapour rises, cools and condenses into clouds. The clouds drift, thicken and fall again as rain, feeding to the forest that created them. It is a perfect loop, trees making clouds, clouds making rain, rain sustaining trees. In the Amazon, this cycle is so powerful that the forest generates much of its own weather. It influences not only its own climate, but also rainfall patterns across continents and even oceans. Think of that. A forest not just as a collection of plants, but as an engine of the atmosphere, shaping skies, pulling rivers of water through the air. Tonight, as you breathe, imagine those hidden rivers above the canopy, moisture rising and falling, endless, patient. The rainforest doesn't just live beneath the sky. It helps create the sky a decorator crabs wear living disguises. On the ocean floor, a small crab scuttles quietly, but it is not bare. Its back is covered with algae, seaweed, even sponges that continue to grow as the crab moves. This is the decorator crab, a master of camouflage. With tiny hooked hairs on its shell, it picks up pieces of its surroundings and attaches them carefully, crafting a disguise that changes as it grows. Sometimes the disguise makes it invisible. Sometimes it makes it unappetizing if the chosen sponge releases toxins. Imagine the patience of such a creature, building its outfit bit by bit, a moving reef, a living collage. It does not hide by fleeing, but by becoming. It is both artist and armour, sculptor and sculpture, a creature that wears the ocean itself. As you rest tonight, think of the decorator cree, small, quiet, unnoticed, carrying the beauty and danger of its world upon its back. A reminder that survival can also be art. Insects outnumber us beyond imagination. We think of the world as ours, ruled by humans, cities and machines. But in truth, the world belongs to insects. For every single human, there are estimated to be more than 200 million insects. They live in forests and deserts, on mountain tops and in caves, even at the edges of glaciers. They pollinate our crops, recycle waste, aerate soil, and form the base of countless food chains. Beetles alone make up nearly a quarter of all known animal species. Ants form living bridges. Termitids build towering mounds with natural air conditioning. Butterflies migrate thousands of miles guided by the sun. Some live for only minutes, others live for years. Their societies can be complex, their battles fierce, their adaptations endless. They are builders, recyclers, survivors, and they have been here for over 400 million years, long before us. They will likely remain long after. So when you hear the hum of a bee or the flutter of wings, remember, you are surrounded by a hidden multitude. Quiet, tireless, immeasurable. A kingdom of tiny lives, shaping the earth beneath our notice. Birds of paradise dance like living fireworks. In the rainforests of New Guinea, deep among the shadows of leaves, a stage is set. A male bird of paradise clears a space on the forest floor or a branch, sweeping it clean. He perches, feathers glowing in iridescent colours, blues, golds, fiery oranges, midnight blacks. Then the dance begins. He hops, spins, bows, flares his feathers into impossible shapes. Fans, plumes, streamers. Some species unfold their plumage into perfect circles, glowing like neon suns. Others bounce, twist and freeze in poses that seem choreographed, each step precise. All of it is a performance for the watching female, who studies carefully before deciding. The better the dance, the brighter the feathers, the greater the chance of passing on life. These displays are not just survival, they are theatre, they are art. Evolution's most extravagant stage show. Imagine standing in the dim rainforest as one of these birds erupts into motion, a living jewel spinning in shafts of sunlight. It is beauty born of necessity, patience turned into performance, life turned into spectacle. And tonight, as your own eyes grow heavy, let their dance shimmer in your mind, wild, improbable, dazzling. A reminder that the earth is full of wonder, not just in survival, but in display. Song in dance and colour, spider silk stronger than steel. In the quiet corners of your home, or stretched across forest branches glittering with dew, webs appear delicate, fragile, easy to break. Yet the truth hidden in those threads is astonishing. Spider silk, strand for strand, is stronger than steel. Silk is spun from proteins, liquid inside the spider until pulled into a solid fibre. With remarkable efficiency, the spider transforms chemistry into architecture. Some silks are sticky, perfect for catching prey. Others are dry and strong, forming the skeleton of the web. A single dragline thread can support the weight of the spider as it dangles in midair. If a strand of silk were scaled up to the thickness of a pencil, it could catch an airplane in flight without snapping. And yet it is spun silently by a creature no larger than your fingertip. Humans study silk for inspiration, hoping to create stronger fibres, medical sutures, even materials for spacecraft. But for the spider, silk is simply life. It is trap, safety line, shelter and egg case. A miracle spun daily, remade whenever torn, shining each morning with dew. Tonight, imagine the patience of the spider, building in silence, weaving strength into invisibility. A creature whose threads are both delicate and indestructible, a paradox shimmering in moonlight. Fireflies speak with light. On warm summer evenings, as dusk deepens into night, tiny sparks rise from the grass. Fireflies, blinking in patterns like stars falling to earth. What looks like magic is actually a language. Each firefly species has its own rhythm of flashes. Males hover above, sending signals into the night. Females watch from below, and if they like what they see, they answer with a flash of their own. It is a conversation written in light, a courtship violent but radiant. The glow comes from bioluminescence, the same chemistry that lights up plankton and deep-sea creatures. In the firefly's lantern, oxygen and luciferin react, releasing energy as a cool, perfect glow, but the flashes are not just romance. Some fireflies mimic the signals of others, luring males closer, only to eat them. A dangerous twist in the love language of light. To us, fireflies are enchantment itself. To them, it is communication, precise, necessary, vital. A Morse code written in brilliance. Tonight, as you rest, picture a meadow alive with whispers of light. Each flash a sentence, each pause a reply. The air becomes a page, the night a conversation, the world a book glowing softly with living words. Monkeys who use medicine. In the forests of Africa, monkeys sometimes pause their play, not to eat but to heal. They seek out bitter leaves, not part of their normal diet, and chew them carefully when parasites or stomach problems arise. Chimpanzees have been observed swallowing rough leaves whole, their sharp edges scraping worms from the gut. Others chew plants with antibacterial properties, spitting out the pulp but swallowing the juice. Capuchin monkeys rub crushed insects into their fur, natural pesticides to keep away biting flies. This is called zoopharmacognosy, animals using nature as medicine. It is not taught in schools. It is instinct, trial, memory passed through generations. Proof that knowledge is not ours alone. These creatures do not write prescriptions, yet they understand their forests. They know which plants heal, which soothe, which cleanse. The jungle itself is their pharmacy, and they move through it with wisdom written in instinct. As you lie here, think of them, quiet figures in the trees, healing themselves not with tools of glass and metal, but with leaves and roots and insects. Ancient healers, reminding us that the art of medicine began not in our hands, but in the wild. Oceans make the air you breathe. Take another deep breath, slow and steady. Nearly half of the oxygen filling your lungs right now came not from forests or grasslands, but from the sea. Tiny organisms called phytoplankton drift in the sunlight near the ocean's surface. They are invisible to the naked eye, smaller than grains of sand, and yet through photosynthesis, they release more oxygen than all the rainforests combined. Billions upon billions of these microscopic plants float in the waves. Each one takes in carbon dioxide, releases oxygen, and quietly sustains life across the globe. They are eaten by zooplankton, which are eaten by small fish, which feed larger creatures. All of ocean life resting on their invisible shoulders. Without them, the air would thin, the seas would empty. Life as we know it could not exist. So the next time you see the ocean, remember, It is not just water, it is breath. It is a forest turned sideways, a green meadow made of waves, a vast and unseen partner in every breath you take. And tonight, as you inhale deeply, let yourself imagine those drifting glowing cells, catching sunlight and exhaling life into the world. Tiny, fragile, countless, eternal. The ocean is breathing with you. Glaciers are rivers of ice that flow. At first glance, a glacier seems frozen, eternal, unmoving. A wall of blue-white ice pressed against mountains shining under the sun. But look closer, or rather, look across centuries, and you'll see that glaciers are not still. They flow. Gravity pulls them down the valleys, their immense weight pressing ice into motion. Slowly, steadily, they creep forward, carrying boulders, carving cliffs, reshaping landscapes. A glacier may move only a few inches a day or several feet, but over millennia it sculpts mountains into sharp peaks and wide valleys. When glaciers retreat, they leave behind lakes, rivers, and fertile plains. Entire landscapes of Europe and North America were carved by their icy hands during the last ice age. Even now, in the frozen north and south, these rivers of ice continue their patient work, shaping the earth with silent persistence. Imagine them tonight, vast, heavy, slow, unstoppable. Flowing like rivers, but made of ice, they remind us that motion does not always mean speed. Change can be glacial, steady, and yet utterly transformative. Some creatures never truly sleep. For us, sleep is essential. We surrender hours each night, slipping into dreams, but in the animal kingdom some creatures bend the rules. Dolphins, for example, never fully sleep. Instead, they rest one half of their brain at a time. One eye closes, the other stays open. One side dreams, the other stays alert, watching for predators, guiding them to the surface for air. After a while, they switch. In this way, they rest while never completely unconscious. Birds too can sleep while flying. During long migrations, frigate birds drift high on warm air currents, shutting down parts of their brains in brief intervals, all while their wings remain spread. They dream in the sky. Even some sharks continue swimming as they sleep, muscles moving automatically, gills pulling oxygen from water as their minds rest in fragments. Sleep, it seems, is not one thing but many. Nature has invented countless ways to balance rest with survival. As you lie here tonight, safe in your own rest, think of them. The dolphins with half-dreaming minds, the birds dreaming on the wind, the sharks dreaming in motion. Sleep takes many forms, but the need for renewal is universal. Trees. Whisper to each other. A forest may seem silent, but beneath the soil runs a hidden network. Roots intertwined with fungal threads, sharing signals and sustenance. When a tree is attacked by insects, it can send chemical warnings through the air and through the underground web, alerting neighbours to raise their defences. When young saplings grow in the shadows, older mother trees sometimes send them extra sugars through the fungal network, keeping them alive until they reach the light. This is not thought as we know it. It is chemistry, but it is communication nonetheless. Messages written in molecules, signals pulsing underground. The forest is not a collection of individuals. It is a community bound together by threads invisible to our eyes. Imagine standing in a grove at night. Around you, trunks rise like pillars, leaves rustle in the wind. Beneath your feet, messages flow quietly from root to root, from tree to tree. The forest is alive not only with sound and movement, but with whispers you cannot hear. Tonight, as you drift, imagine yourself among them, one more being connected to the hidden web of life, breathing in rhythm with the trees. Elephants never forget. In the vast savannas of Africa and the forests of Asia, elephants walk ancient paths. Mothers lead calves along routes their families have followed for generations. They find hidden waterholes remembered across decades. Their memories are astonishing. A matriarch can recall the location of food and water even after years of drought. She can recognize the voices of dozens of other elephants, even those unseen for decades. Studies show they even remember the smell and sound of humans, knowing who is a friend and who is a threat. But memory is not just survival, it is also emotion. Elephants have been seen returning to the bones of their dead, touching them gently with trunks, pausing in silence. They remember individuals long gone. They grieve, they carry loss. Memory makes them resilient, guiding them through harsh landscapes. but it also makes them tender, holding bonds across time. As you lie here tonight, think of them. Great beings with hearts that carry decades, walking slowly across the earth, remembering each other, remembering the land, remembering loss. Their memory is not only survival, it is love stretched through time. Clams that outlive empires. On the cold seafloor near Iceland, scientists once discovered a clam with concentric ridges circling its shell, each ring a record of a passing year. When they counted carefully, they realised this clam had lived for over 500 years. It had been born before Columbus sailed, before Shakespeare wrote, before empires rose and fell. This clam, nicknamed Ming, was one of the oldest individual animals ever recorded. And it was not unique. Some bivalves live for centuries, their slow pace of life protecting them from time's wear. They grow patiently, year by year, adding layers like pages in a book. They do not rush, they simply endure. Imagine that, a creature that lived through centuries of storms and silence, while humans reshaped the world above. The clam never knew our histories, but it carried its own. A half-millennium of view tides written in its shell. Night, as you rest, think of Ming and others like it. Quiet, steadfast lives stretched across centuries, reminding us that endurance can be its own kind of greatness. Butterflies who cross continents. Every autumn, millions of monarch butterflies take flight in North America, beginning one of the most extraordinary migrations on Earth. They travel up to 3,000 miles from Canada and the northern United States all the way to the mountains of central Mexico. What makes this journey astonishing is not just the distance, but the fact that no single butterfly completes it. The individuals that leave in autumn are not the same ones that return in spring. Instead, the journey is carried across generations. One butterfly flies part of the way, lays eggs, and dies. The next generation continues, then another, until finally their great-grandchildren complete the circle. How do they know the route? Scientists believe they use the angle of the sun, the pull of the Earth's magnetic field, and perhaps even memory written in their genes. Year after year, without fail, the same groves of trees in Mexico fill with wings, millions of orange and black sails, shimmering like living autumn leaves. Imagine standing in one of those forests, branches bending under the weight of countless butterflies, the air whispering with their wings. A migration not of individuals, but of a lineage, carrying memory across time. Whales speak in dialects. We know that whales sing, but did you know that their songs vary like human languages? Pods of sperm whales, for example, use series of clicks called codas. Each group has its own version, a dialect passed from generation to generation. These codas are not random noise. They carry identity, marking one family from another. In some cases, they may carry information, patterns that act as introductions, as names, as markers of belonging. Humpback whales go further still. Their songs evolve year by year, spreading like cultural waves. One population may invent a new melody, and gradually across oceans others adopt it, until the song spreads worldwide. It is not genetic, it is cultural learning, much like how humans share music. The ocean is vast, yet sound connects it. Whales separated by thousands of miles still carry echoes of each other's voices. Tonight, imagine that watery world filled not with silence but with conversation. Deep voices rolling across the blue, songs changing, dialects shaping families. The sea is not mute, it is alive with voices. Auroras. The sky glows with solar breath. On certain nights in the far north and south, the sky becomes a canvas of shifting light. Curtains of green, ribbons of red, waves of purple ripple across the stars. These are auroras, the northern and southern lights. They are born from the sun. Streams of charged particles rush outward in the solar wind. When they strike Earth's magnetic field, they are guided toward the poles, colliding with atoms in the upper atmosphere. Oxygen glows green, nitrogen glows red and violet. To those who witness it, the aurora feels otherworldly, a celestial dance impossible to predict. For ancient cultures, it was a sign from the gods, a message, a mystery. For us, it is still magic, science wrapped in beauty. Imagine lying beneath those shimmering skies, the air cold, the world quiet, the heavens alive with fire. The aurora is the earth itself answering the sun, painting the night with colour. And tonight, as you drift, imagine those waves of light rippling gently above you, a reminder that even the sky can glow with life's breath. The silent world of caves. Deep beneath the surface of the earth lie worlds almost completely untouched by time. Caves form where water carves stone, drop by drop, century after century. Inside, the air is cool, the silence absolute, and the darkness complete. So deep that your eyes would never adjust. In this hidden world, strange forms grow. Stalactites hang like stone icicles, growing just a fraction of an inch every 100 years. Stalagmites rise from the floor, slow monuments of mineral patience. Some caves hold lakes so still they mirror perfectly, reflecting not the sky but the stone ceiling above. Creatures here are unlike those outside. Blind fish navigate by touch. Insects lose their colour, pale as ghosts. Bats swarm in the thousands, their wings whispering like wind as they leave at dusk. A cave is a reminder that Earth is layered. What we see on the surface is only one skin. Below, time works differently. Life whispers differently. And silence has its own form of beauty. Birds, who navigate by stars. Every year, millions of birds take flight across continents. They cross deserts, oceans and mountains, and somehow they arrive exactly where they need to be. One secret to their astonishing journeys lies in the night sky. Some birds, like the indigo bunting, actually use the stars as maps. From hatchlings raised under simulated skies, scientists discovered that young birds learn the rotation of constellations around the North Star. The entire pattern of the night becomes a compass, guiding them through the dark. Even on cloudy nights, birds carry this knowledge within them. Combined with magnetic senses and memory of landscapes, they hold multiple maps layered into their instincts. Imagine that, a tiny creature, weighing less than an apple, soaring across thousands of miles guided by nothing more than starlight. To them, the night sky is not decoration, it is direction, a silent map written in shimmering points of light. As you close your eyes tonight, think of those travellers, their wings cutting through the night, constellations guiding them home, the sky itself holding them in its embrace. Trees that outlive civilizations. On high mountain slopes or the desert plains, there are trees that have stood for thousands of years. The bristlecone pines of California, for example, are among the oldest living organisms on Earth, some more than 4,800 years old. When these trees first sprouted, the pyramids of Egypt were still young. Empires have risen and fallen, languages born and forgotten, yet these trees endured, growing ring by ring, year by year. Their twisted trunks bear the scars of centuries, frozen winters, dry summers, storms and lightning, but they survive, rooted deep, reaching always toward the sky. Other trees, like olive groves in the Mediterranean or fig trees in Asia, have lived through human history, watching generations pass. They were there when myths were told by firelight, when temples were built, when explorers sailed seas. These trees are living memory, a reminder that life can be patient, steady, and eternal. They whisper a lesson that survival is not always about speed or strength, but about resilience and quiet persistence. The Earth's hidden music. Though the ground feels solid and still, the Earth is never silent. Beneath us, deep within its core, vibrations are always moving. Waves caused by shifting plates, by storms on the ocean, even by human footsteps. Scientists who study seismology often say that the Earth has a song. Low, deep vibrations, far below what human ears can hear, ripple constantly through stone and soil. These are called microseisms, the hum of the planet itself. We don't hear it, but it surrounds us, a background rhythm of life. Each quake, each tide, each rolling wave on the shore adds to the music. It is the heartbeat of a living planet, always steady, always flowing. Imagine lying quietly, your body resting against the earth, feeling, not hearing, the great hum beneath you. A reminder that you are not separate from the world. You are part of it, sharing in its rhythms, moving with its hidden music. Glowworm caves. Stars beneath the earth. In New Zealand, there are caves where the ceiling looks like a night sky, but the stars are not stars, they are living creatures. Glowworms cling to the rock, tiny larvae that produce light to lure insects into their sticky threads. When thousands gather together, the cave transforms into a galaxy underground. Rivers flow silently below, boats drift gently, and visitors look upward into what feels like infinity. The glow is soft, bluish, otherworldly. Each glowworm shines not with heat, but with a chemical light, bioluminescence, the same magic used by fireflies. It is life painting darkness with a light. Imagine yourself floating in one of those caves, the world above forgotten, only this underground sky glowing softly above you. A reminder that stars are not only in the heavens, sometimes they are inside the earth itself. Fungi, the silent internet of life. Beneath forests, unseen by most, is one of the largest and most intelligent networks on Earth, the mycelium of fungi. These thin, thread-like filaments spread through soil, linking tree roots and plants into a shared web. Through this network, trees can send nutrients to one another, warn of pests, or even share water in times of drought. A dying tree may give its last sugars to its seedlings. A mother tree may feed its offspring through the underground web. Some scientists call this system the wood wide web. It is not conscious in the way we are, but it is purposeful. It is cooperation written into nature. Fungi are not just recyclers of the forest, breaking down dead wood into soil. They are also connectors, threads of life tying individuals into communities. Next time you see a mushroom, know that it is only the fruit. Beneath your feet may stretch miles of hidden threads, a living network that has been silently shaping forests for millions of years. Animals that dream. When night falls, many creatures close their eyes, and some, like us, enter worlds of dreams. Cats twitch their whiskers and paws as if chasing prey in their sleep. Dogs whimper softly, tails wagging at some imagined joy. Rats replay mazes they ran earlier, their brains firing as if still exploring. Even birds show signs of dreaming. Zebra finches, for example, practice their songs while asleep, their brains repeating patterns of notes that they will sing at dawn. Dolphins, though they never fully sleep, rest one half of their brain at a time, and even then they seem to drift into dreamlike states. Dreams are not exclusive to humans. They are threads of memory, rehearsal, and imagination woven into the fabric of life itself. So tonight, as you drift, know that you are not alone. All around the world, creatures are dreaming too. Cats, birds, whales, perhaps even tiny mice, each carried into quiet worlds of their own. Mountains that walk. Mountains feel eternal, immovable, timeless, but across the scale of millions of years, they too move, rise and fall. The Himalayas, for example, are still growing today, lifted by the collision of tectonic plates. Each year they rise a few millimeters higher, as if the earth itself were still sculpting them. Other ranges, once tall, wear down to rolling hills, their stone carried away grain by grain. Glaciers grind them down, rivers carve valleys, wind polishes their peaks. Over time, mountains shift across the planet like slow travellers. The Appalachian Mountains in North America were once taller than the Himalayas, but now they are gentle ridges, softened by age. To us, mountains seem eternal, but in truth they are like waves frozen in stone, rising and falling in rhythms longer than memory. As you rest tonight, think of the mountains, still but always moving, patient travellers across the canvas of time. In the heart of the desert, silence often feels eternal. Sand stretches to the horizon, wind carves ripples in dunes, and for months, even years, the land lies still. Yet beneath that stillness, thousands of seeds wait in patience. When rain finally arrives, sometimes just for a single night, the desert awakens. Overnight, carpets of flowers unfurl, painting the barren earth with vibrant yellows, purples and reds. Entire valleys turn into oceans of colour, blooming only to vanish days later, leaving behind seeds that will sleep again for decades. A desert so often thought of as lifeless becomes a reminder that abundance can wait quietly, hidden until its moment arrives. Far beneath the waves, in darkness where sunlight never reaches, fish carry their own lanterns. Lanternfish drift through the deep, glowing softly along their sides, like stars scattered across a black ocean sky. Anglerfish dangle strange lures from their heads, tiny glowing orbs that attract unsuspecting prey in the endless dark. Hatchetfish gleam faintly, shining light downward to hide themselves from predators above, blending with the dim glow of the surface. Here, in a place colder and darker than most of us can imagine, life creates light from within. The ocean's depths are not empty. They are constellations drifting, galaxies made of scales and fins, moving silently through water. And deeper still, around vents in the seafloor, life thrives without any sunlight at all. Here the earth breathes hot mineral-rich water into the sea, plumes that glow with heat. Instead of photosynthesis, microbes perform chemosynthesis, feeding on chemicals like hydrogen sulfide. Around them, giant tube worms bloom like scarlet candles, clams grow larger than dinner plates, and strange white crabs scuttle across black stone. Entire ecosystems exist in complete darkness, born not from the sun above, but from fire inside the earth. These places remind us that life is not fragile. It is inventive, capable of finding footholds even where light has never been. Even the stones of our planet are not as silent as they seem. In deserts and valleys around the world, the wind turns sand into music. Singing dunes hum with low, resonant tones as grains slide against each other, creating a choir of vibrations that can be felt in the chest. Hollow rocks ring like bells when struck, their minerals tuned by nature into instruments. In Death Valley, shifting sands murmur with ghostly voices when disturbed, as if the earth itself were breathing in song. To most, stones are lifeless, yet listen closely, and you'll hear them whisper in sound shaped by time and wind. In volcanic eruptions, storms of ash give birth to lightning. Flashes split the sky above rivers of lava, bolts leaping from cloud to cloud, illuminating plumes of smoke in eerie brilliance. It is fire within fire, storm within storm, an ancient display of power and beauty. And in the grasslands of Australia, birds known as firehawks have been seen carrying burning sticks in their beaks, dropping them into dry fields to flush out insects and prey. Fire, which we so often think of as human, is also wielded by animals, another reminder that the line between destruction and survival is never simple. In the African savanna, rain sometimes appears as a wall walking across the horizon. From a distance, it looks like a curtain of silver thread sweeping slowly over the land. Elephants turn toward it, sensing the moisture on the wind. Birds shift and call in the trees. Antelope lift their heads as the first drops fall. Rain is not just water, it is a traveller, a migration that reshapes the landscape, feeding rivers, filling hollows, greening the earth. Trees too hold secrets of time. In their trunks, rings form year by year, each one a record of drought or flood, fire or calm. Scientists can read centuries of history in these lines, decoding the memory of climate written in wood. Each tree is a diary, silent but truthful, holding the story of centuries in its heart. Some trees live so long they witness civilizations rise and fall, yet they remain rooted, patient, recording everything in silence. And then there are creatures that choose light as their language. On warm summer nights, fireflies gather here in forests and fields. Sometimes thousands of them synchronize, blinking in unison, entire trees lighting up and fading together in waves of glow. It feels like magic, but it is communication. Each flash a signal, a rhythm of attraction and recognition. For a moment, the night becomes music written in light, a living constellation moving through grass and branches. Beneath all of this, the earth itself hums. The ground beneath your feet may feel still, but deep inside, vibrations travel endlessly. Seismologists call them microseisms, low, continuous waves caused by oceans, winds, even distant storms. It is the heartbeat of the planet, too deep for us to hear, but always present. The earth sings quietly to itself, and whether we notice or not, we are always inside its song. Clams on the seafloor carry the memory of centuries. One such clam, discovered near Iceland, was over 500 years old when scientists counted its rings. It had lived through the rise and fall of empires, through ages of discovery, through generations of human history, all while drifting slowly beneath the sea. To live that long is not to conquer time, but to move so gently that time forgets you. Monarch butterflies cross continents in a dance of survival and memory. No single butterfly completes the journey. Instead, generations take turns, each carrying the flight a little farther until their great-grandchildren return to the very trees where it all began. Whales sing across oceans, their voices deep and haunting, and their songs change, evolving like human culture, passed from one pod to another, until entire populations share new melodies. Above them, the sky glows with auroras, curtains of green and red born from the breath of the sun colliding with Earth's magnetic field, painting the heavens with fire. Life on Earth is not only resilient, it is endlessly creative. It blooms in deserts, glows in caves, whispers through fungi, dreams in animals, and moves mountains grain by grain. It makes music from wind, light from chemicals, and community from silence. And you too are part of that story. So as you lie here now, let the images settle gently in your mind. Deserts turning to seas of flowers, glowing fish drifting like constellations, rain walking across plains, trees recording centuries, fireflies turning night into rhythm, and the earth itself humming beneath you. Let your breath slow, your body soften, and your thoughts drift like leaves on quiet water. The wonders of the world will still be here tomorrow. Silent caves glowing with living stars, whales singing in deep oceans, seeds waiting patiently for rain. Tonight, you do not need to hold them all, you only need to rest. Close your eyes, feel the stillness. Let the earth's song carry you gently into sleep. Dream well.